Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I am Coach Seth. I'm joined with my co-host, Coach Mia, and we've got a dynamic show for you. I hope you've been enjoying it. If this is your first time tuning into this show, I want to encourage you to go to our 5-Star Life YouTube page and subscribe. There's a bunch of other shows that are so helpful. We kicked off the year really just trying to help you really achieve what you want in 2021. And we asked the question, are you winning at the level you want to win? We talked about vision, but then we dove in and we really dedicated the last few shows directly to parents. The last year has been very challenging for parents. And I think it's the silver lining because, out of everything negative that took place, it has opened our eyes as parents to the needs of our kids, which is a really good thing. We saw our kids thrive in certain areas, and we saw them struggle and go to dark places, anxiety, stress, trying to navigate online learning, social distancing. Kids weren't meant to be isolated. We watched the effects of that, and we watched them struggle with education as a whole and who they are with themselves, all the while going through puberty. And so as a parent, we have said, wow, I can't necessarily count on education because we're social distance. I can't count on coaches like I could before. Church, everything's different. The onus is on me. It's on my shoulders. And you're feeling the pressure, and it's not all bad. I think we feel the weight of the world, but I think this has been really powerful for us and eye-opening because all along, you and I are the most important people in our kids' lives. And I think, if anything, it's given us clear vision. And I think what we want to do today is help give you some tools so that you can win with your kids. Now that you're aware of their needs, how do you win? And so we're in our fourth part talking about how to win as a parent, how to win with your kids. We talked about the scientific part of parenting. It's so important that you know that. Go back and watch that video. We talked about how to connect with your kids, and that's where we want to finish this series out. And one of the things I talk about all the time is there's a simple formula to connecting with any human being, but especially with your kids. You've got to find their hot buttons and pressure points by asking questions and actively listening. Let me say that again. If you want to connect with your kids, adolescent kids will give you the stiff arm. They're too cool for school and they're way too cool for their parents. But deep inside, you've got to know this. They desire your love. They desire the answer to the question, do I have what it takes? And one of the ways you create connection is you make sure you are the hub, you are the source, you are the hub of the wheel when it comes to answering that question. If you can do one thing right as a parent, it's making sure you are the positive voice that reminds them you are strong, you're powerful, you're beautiful, I believe in you. If you're doing that, the well never runs dry inside of you, they never lose sight. My mom, my dad believe in me. You will always have their ear, you will always have their heart, no matter what they put on the outside. But how do you connect? Find their hot buttons, right? Besides answering that question, what are their hot buttons?
What do you mean by hot buttons? Like their interests or their...
So you have hot buttons. And I can find out what your hot buttons are, what excites you, what makes you come alive, what's engaging. And so you have certain people you love to be around, and it's because they have the same hot buttons as you. Okay. They have the same passion as you, whether it's health, whether it's fitness, whatever it is, whether it's personal development. And if I can spend about a minute with any human being on the planet, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and I can find out what their hot buttons are or their pressure points, I can connect with them. So as a parent, the temptation as a parent is one, we're so busy that we don't take the time to get to know our kids. Here's the big mistake we make. I raised you, I brought you into this world, I know you, I see you coming and going, but during adolescence, guess what? They're spending a lot of time in school, they're spending a lot of time online. There's a new them that's being developed. There's new interests, there's new passions, there's new things that they're finding their independence. They want to be independent, so they're always going to share it with mommy and daddy. And so your little Johnny, your little Susie, they have changed, they've evolved, they've grown, and we don't know it unless we're really intentional about finding out what makes them tick. And from working with tens of thousands of students, one of the biggest frustrations of kids going through adolescence is when their parents think they know them and they have them pigeonholed as little Johnny, as little Susie, but they don't respect the new person they're becoming. They're not interested in knowing their passions, because the reality is you know your kids better than they know themselves in many ways, right? There's truth to that, right? So I'll give you that. But they want their independence so bad, and you've got to give it to them. So you've got to be curious. Even though you know part of them very well, there's a secret part that's being developed that you don't know about, they're not sharing. But you want to draw that out. You want to know what their passions are, their hot buttons, their pressure points. Now here's the deal. What interests them probably won't interest you. Like, you're not interested in all the stuff in social media. You're not interested in Pokemon. You're not interested in whatever it is, whatever the newest trend or fad or thing is. But if you want to win with your kids, do some research on it. Find out what it is they're talking about. Dive in, ask them questions. They'll think you're a loser. They'll tell you you're lame. They'll tell you, how do you not know this? But if you dive into their interests, it will create a bridge and a connection.
And you know what I think we do too as parents when they're younger, and I see this with my grandkids, is that you pour into what they want to do. You don't want to have a tea party, but you sit down and have a tea party. And it's like as they grow, somehow we don't make time for those special things that they enjoy.
It's interesting because they're big.
Yeah.
They're big, they're independent. We love it that they're independent because it's not so draining on us. And so, but they still want that.
Mm-hmm. They crave that time together, that one-on-one that you're present.
But they crave it on their own time, in their own terms. So there's times where my sons, I'm always asking questions. I'm a question answer by nature, and sometimes that annoys the heck out of them. And I, as a parent, have to just be okay with, it's not the moment, right? This isn't the time. I don't have them right now. But guess what? They will have their own moment, and they'll want to bring me in. It's probably going to be when it's most inconvenient for me. Like literally, that's when it usually is. Like when I'm running out the door, when I'm getting ready to do something, or I have something else going on, that's when that's when they want to test to see, is he engaged? Will they listen? And that's where you then have to make some choices. And usually it's like 5 minutes. Yeah. They don't want to sit down and talk for half hour.
No.
They don't want that.
Right.
It's usually 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. If you will say yes in those moments, you will connect. The other piece, talk about hot buttons, but there's pressure points. You and I have pressure, stress. There's pressure points. Your kids have pressure. And one of the biggest mistakes we make as parents is we downplay their pressure. Well, you don't understand. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have financial pressure. Like just don't worry about it. Johnny, Susie, come. You're worried about that boy, that girl. You're worried about that school. Like just it'll be fine. And we say these cliche things, and what it does is it sends a message to them that we don't get it. Because that's what we do to people. When I'm going through something, I share it with somebody and they say, and they give me some cliche answer. What do we do? Like, they don't get it. They don't understand my situation. Because it's true. If you are willing in those moments just to be an ear and to step down from your pedestal as a parent, because as a parent, I go into answer solution person. And in adolescence, there's a time to be the solution person. But what we've got to transition into is being a listener and a question asker, because they crave independence so bad. They want to know they have what it takes. They want to know they're independent. And so, yes, you can give them answers, but you got to do it by asking questions. Lead them to the answer by asking questions. They will engage you more if you do that. If you just start spouting out answers, they don't want that.
Right. Well, we don't want that as adults.
We want to figure it out. And you've got to give them time and space to figure it out. But it begins when you acknowledge their pressure, their stress is real, and listen to them, connect with them, offer them solutions through questions. I'm not saying don't offer direct solutions when they're in front of them, but this is a huge step for you. I hope this series on connecting with your kids is helpful. Very simple tips. Connecting with them is asking questions, it's finding their hot buttons and pressure points. If you do this consistently, you're going to win with your kids in 2021 big. Get ready.